It's 11:59 at Radio Free America, and this is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
And welcome everybody to our daily gun show. We come to you live every day at noon Eastern, and I'll be right back.
Yep, so what he was saying was, welcome everybody to the Daily Gun Show. We come to you live every day about noon Eastern, simulcast on YouTube and gun channels. We're watching the live comments coming in from everybody watching, so we do appreciate it. Also appreciate everybody watching later, everyone that's subscribed to all the content creators over there, the chat hosts. They all put in a lot of work, so make sure that you support them. And make sure you check out gun channels. So today we have hosts. We got Bob coming in from Canada.
Hey, glad to be here.
We got me in Phoenix. Good to be here. And we got G-Webs over in Tucson. I don't know if he's probably still on the phone there.
No, it was just garbage. I'm back.
Oh, okay.
All right, so we're looking at episode 430. No, last Friday,
yep.
420, or are we 2 weeks away from that? All right. So we're at 430. We're on Friday, so it'll be gun tech. We'll talk about this seems like we just talked about this, but the over-under 410.22 over and under for the end of the world inserts in the stock. Maybe that's the part we're adding. Or this was Bob's gun of the day the other day, and then we added it as a discussion topic. Seems like we just talked about this concept, though.
I think
yeah, it was a gun of the day.
So then we got the gun biz, how to promote gun shows. Then we've got the alternative gun topics, flag art. We've also got some other things that we're going to be doing today, as well as the daily stuff, gun shop of the day, gun of the day, gun movies, and so forth. Before we dig into all that, we usually take a break at the beginning of the show, though, to see if anything happened overnight worth talking about. I listed an interview show with me last night. That was pretty cool. I guess on his fourth interview, and I think that's a neat format. And I simulcasted it on my channel as it was happening. And I'm going to encourage people that are going to be going on with Ellis in the future to do that, because I was just thinking about that this morning, that gets his channel spread out on my channel to my audience. It also informs my audience about this interview about me that they might give a shit about, that they might not have known about. So instead of having me do a video about it, I just simulcasted it, and that way he gets an hour-long plug over there, and hopefully you get some viewers. And I think you really will, because I think it's a neat format. These YouTubers are just regular old people, and it's interesting to hear their stories. And
yeah,
I preface that he's interviewing YouTubers and people.
Yeah, I watched it yesterday, and I watched the few ones that he did. I think he did Ghost and all that, and Clover, and I really enjoy it because it's not your average like interview format either. He changes it up, so it's really cool. I hope he keeps doing it.
He's not perfect. His priorities are all off. He did me fourth instead of first, but you know,
everybody can't be perfect.
No, if he was perfect, I would have been first. Like, come on, who's the international star? You're just low.
Also got me thinking that we definitely need to be kicking into gear our Tuesday interview segment that we leave open and then never really pursue. So if you got ideas for who we should interview, let us know. I mean, we've got a lot of ideas. I think we even have a tab somewhere on the spreadsheet where we started listing people, but I think we should probably kick that into gear. I think that was a pretty fun time, and I'm thinking if I had a fun time, hopefully people have a fun time on our show, because who doesn't like talking about themselves? And like for me, it's talking about the channel and stuff. That was neat because I built the channel a long time ago. It's evolved a bit over time, but I don't very often sit down and talk about the channel. So I think that'd be neat to give people an opportunity to do that, kind of rethink their channel and redescribe it. It's a neat exercise.
Yeah, definitely. I also got a chance to check out Tack Daddies. I don't know if somebody else posted him over here or if he just posts him out of here.
Well, Tack or one of the other guys on the show that'll like posted over here on gun channels. But then just for a long time, nobody was commenting. So I know for a while, was it Reed that would sit there? His co-host would sit there and on the gun channel side, but almost be alone. Sometimes I'd be in there, sometimes another person would be in there, but rarely did anyone go hang out. Now, that's not a function of gun channels was shunning them. They never talked to the gun channel side. They would only talk to the YouTube side of their comments, if they talked about the comments at all, and that brought people over to the YouTube side. So when you don't get talked to, you don't comment, and when you don't comment, you don't get it looked at or addressed. So it was just a self-defeating thing there. But they do post it still, and I let them know at the end, because we did have like quite a few people over there. Didn't we have like 8 people over there listening?
Yeah.
And so I let them know at the end after it was over that, you know, we had a bunch of people watching on gun channels. So maybe next week they'll pay attention again, and again we can start that conversation over there. Gun channels is certainly more active now than it's been in a while, so they might just need a reminder that we're cooking with gas over here now.
Yeah, absolutely. Heck, yesterday the early watch chat, man, was going off like one of those YouTube chats where you got to scroll back up to look at them. I mean, there was a bunch of stuff going on yesterday.
Did you mean the day that I hosted the early watch, or did you mean?
No, that was Monday. It was a pretty slow day actually, but you know, like I said earlier, we can't all be perfect.
Tony just phoned it in that day.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but that's about it for me. Yeah, I seen a few good chats yesterday, and that was it.
Yankee had a crazy another chat again. 1,200 people watching. So like to see that he did a little less of the, what are you calling it? The drama, a little less of that. So hopefully that'll calm down and we can move on. Did you guys see the interview with Yeager and Cox? That was yesterday, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was interesting. I don't really know what to take away from it. It was interesting though, and I do appreciate him doing it. I wouldn't really consider Yeager not necessarily an NRA shill or anything like that. So I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I definitely don't agree with the Yankees' perception of that. I don't know where Matt comes up with it. I think Yankees at least met the guy, but yeah, Yeager is one of the pillars in the industry. I don't know what people are. They just really like to yell at him or get mad at him or whatever. Probably sees more in fit than they are, and he puts his money where his mouth is and does stuff. He's got a resume of training that would, he's definitely second to a couple of people, but few people on the planet have had as much experience training and then doing stuff in real life. So anyway, I think I respect him a lot. He's helped our channel out, the Gun Websites channel or whatever, me and the guys on the Gun Websites a lot over the years. In fact, we wouldn't even be going. I think we've mentioned it before that when I first got back into guns a bit after the assault weapons ban sunset, and I started to look at going to classes, and Yeager was the first to let me start reviewing classes. I'll be back again.
Yeah, well, I've met James, and he is a hell of a nice guy when you meet him in person. He's I mean, there is a bit of a character to him on his YouTube videos, but in person, I mean, he's, you know, I'm a nobody, right? Like as far as YouTube goes, I'm a nobody. So, you know, going up to him and saying, "Hey, hi," you know, I've watched your videos. I've talked to you in a chat or two. Oh, Bob, I remember you. And I'm thinking, fuck, I think I talked to you for 2 seconds, like 2 years ago or something. And he remembers you, you know. Now, whether he really did or he's just being polite, I don't know. But he was the nicest guy in person. So, yeah.
I'm from Tennessee. They're all polite. So they're Southerners. But anyway, we're talking about if he's paid by the NRA. I just don't see it. He makes a ton of money. How much could the NRA possibly pay him? And I just don't think they do. I seriously think he backs the NRA, he likes them. So anyway, yeah, he did that interview. And Yankees' perception is that the NRA was selling out that interview with a check. Like, you know, somebody do this interview with Chris Cox. He's poison. We need somebody to do it, so we'll pay you. Just I don't see it happening that way, but maybe it did. Who gives a shit, really? It was an interesting interview. It gave Cox a chance to say his position, or I guess the NRA's position on things, and explained their, at least, perspective or their point of view on the history of what's been going on in the Second Amendment in the country. Now, they definitely took some liberties and suggested they were responsible for everything, but we talked about that a little bit in the chats last night too. I'm not going to hold them to the fire on that. That's something that when you're talking to a heck of a lot of people in broad strokes, it's not the time to get super bent out of shape about details lacking or, an overview. That's what broad strokes are all about. When you're talking to, somebody on the news about, addressing something that Hillary Clinton said, it's not the time to get into like who was technically boots on the ground in this particular state's battle. I mean, we know that the NRA is our battleship or our huge entity, the one that gets clobbered on by the antis, nationally and internationally, for crying out loud. To expect them to be able to turn on a freaking dime and address every single specific issue, their figureheads to be able to address every specific thing, it would be contraindicated or whatever. It wouldn't work well with the interviews. They would not, their points wouldn't get across if they were trying to be technically accurate all the time. So I'm going to give them a pass on the broad strokes and go with, again, I'm assuming they're trying to talk to a lot of people there and they're going to use some broad strokes. Accurate was factually less difficult to credit pretty much everything that's ever.
I don't know. Was you guys breaking up pretty bad for you, Bob, or is that on my end?
Started breaking up right at the end there, and then he just seemed to fade right out.
All right. I just want to make sure. But yep. I don't know. I don't want to feed into the whole drama thing. I know we can't. Oh, it's gonna be. It's not a. I don't know. I know it's not realistic to say we all need to get together and kumbaya and all this. I know that'll never happen, but I don't know. The whole drama aspect of it is just kind of seems pointless to me.
Yeah, I agree with you too. I think it's too much drama, and it's actually coming off to me as just trying to, I don't know, stir up drama for the sake of it, just in order to get, I don't know, views, hits, whatever. I think it's ridiculous. We're feeding on ourselves, and that's just not necessary, and it's not healthy for the gun community. It's not doing anybody any good. Like, okay, you disagree with somebody's point of view, it doesn't matter. Why start fighting with each other? I mean, doesn't that just sound like counterproductive? I mean, exactly. We should be in this together, regardless of our, we can disagree, certainly, but, keep the big picture in mind, which is the Second Amendment, which is our basic gun rights, which is our basic rights to self-defense, a human right. And you want to, it just doesn't make sense to me to be fighting each other when we've got far bigger foes out there to fight. That's my 2 cents.
Cool. Oh, I guess with that we could move on. There's not many comments going on, so let's dig into the show. Let's see here. Today we are looking at gun tech 41022 over under. Prep end of the world inserts in the stock.
Yeah, no, I think at this time I don't know that it was. I don't know that 410 has a. I guess 410 has a fair number of inserts. I just don't like 410 as a shotgun cartridge.
No, I think it's weak.
Yeah, I mean 20 gauge, sure, but again, then you're running into less common. You start out with a 12 gauge or 12 gauge 22. Perfect, right? You've got the 12 gauge. You put a slug in it. You've got a real game getter, like as far as large game. 22, you've got something for smaller game. 12 gauge, you've also got all your birdshot loads. You've got such a variety with 12 gauge, and then 12 gauge with the inserts. You can have inserts for multiple calibers. So you've got a really viable, as far as this is just something you need that you can pick up any kind of rounds anywhere and be able to put something in your gun. Is it tactical? No. But as far as being able to at least defend yourself with 2 rounds, even if one is only a 22, there's still reasonable, especially out of a rifle barrel. They've got some enough wallop to do the job. And
Oh yeah.
then if you've got 12 gauge buck, or if you've got an insert with a 44 Magnum in it, you've got some real punch there. So I think they're really, like, as a kind of in the back of the gun safe, with the inserts, maybe something you throw in your backpack, when you bug out, especially if it's one of the real lightweight ones.
Oh yeah, definitely. I've been looking into those because I'm one of those idiots. I have two the break action shotguns, the single shot shotguns.
Yeah.
Just because I seen them laying around the gun store and they're only like $80. So I'm like, yeah, I think I'm gonna grab this, and then it happened again.
And
But
what if you got to hand to somebody who doesn't know a lot about guns, is just so they have something.
right, exactly right, and that's where those inserts. I mean, you can put, like you were saying, 22. I mean, they go. I've seen 44, 357. I mean, those are really handy to have. Like something, I don't know. Like you were saying, prep or shit hits the fan. You need a 357. You need something that'll pack a wallop. You need a 44, or you just need a regular 12 gauge. It's all on hand.
Yep.
So
I like the idea. I think it's great as, like I say, something that's your I wouldn't say last ditch as much as imagine you're in a survival situation. It's 10 years on. Your common ammo's getting a little hard to find, but you've got this really simple gun, easy to keep running, and it'll shoot almost anything.
yeah, I definitely think they're handy. I don't know necessarily where we were gonna go with this, but I definitely agree with you 100%. They're handy. I think that they're just neat. They're just a cool thing. But yeah, I could shoot this 9mm out of my shotgun. Who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I like it.
Yeah, so that's definitely what I think is a viable. Like I say, it's it's your kind of end of the world gun, but hey, if it works and you can keep it running easily, why not? It doesn't cost you much. I mean, even the combination ones aren't that expensive. But like you say, you don't even really need the combinations if you've got all the inserts. Although I like the idea of having 2 shots.
Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah, having the 22 on the bottom for sure. So that'll just you don't even need that 22 insert, and then you can put whatever you want on the top.
Yeah, and 22 is such an easy ammunition to stockpile and to have like tens of thousands of rounds in it.
Oh yeah, and 22 is great for pretty much anything small, any squirrel. Even though you really shouldn't shoot it up in the air, it could kill a bird. There's tons of things.
Yeah. Shouldn't shoot a 22 up in the air. You know how many times I've shot squirrels with 22s up in the air?
Exactly. Well, yeah, exactly. That's why I say it's ridiculous, but
Yeah.
the law's the law. But I guess a 22 can do so much. Anything that that's why I don't understand why the 410's on there. Because anything a 410 can do, 22 can do better.
Yeah, really. The 410, the shot spread is so small on it. I mean, I tried shooting skeet and stuff with the 410. And yeah, I know people can do it. I know it's a real skill. But for myself, nah. I mean, it's just, I'd rather use a 22.
Yeah.
I could hit a throwing can better with a 22 rimfire than I could with this 410 shotgun.
Yeah, no, seriously.
So yeah, that's my take on it. I like the double. I like the combination. I don't like the 410 22 combination. I prefer like a 12 gauge 22 combination. Might be a little bit more money, a little bit heavier, but still, it gives you so much more. It gives you a much larger variety of ammo you can shoot.
Well, yeah, exactly. And then with the 410, if you had the inserts, what that limits your caliber. With a 12 gauge, you could pretty much have just about any caliber in there.
Right. And you can get 410. You can get 410 inserts for the 12 gauge. So,
yeah.
Like I've got 410 20 gauge inserts for my 12 gauges. It's actually kind of neat when you take kids out or something. You can give them the double barrel cowboy shotgun with two 410 inserts or two 20 gauge inserts, and they can handle it without a problem.
Well, that's the only thing that I could actually like validate a 410 for, is if you want to get a kid out there and teach them how to the manual operation of a shotgun or something like that, I guess.
Yeah, and you just let them shoot. Well, especially with the inserts, you let them shoot at close range, because you're getting quite a spread at pretty close range with inserts and short barrel shotguns.
Let's see here. William on the YouTube side said he loves those single shot long guns too. Y'all know I'm a sucker for multi calibers. Yeah, I definitely think it's a neat thing. Angry says 410 snake gun. Yeah. I've had similar experiences to people telling me about snake guns that G-Webs was saying about a week ago, where everything's a snake gun, but you'll never see a snake really.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about that. Never see a snake. I've seen, for the amount of time I've been down there, I've seen a few and almost stepped on a big one. So.
Yeah, I've seen 3 in 7 years.
Bob drinks a lot, and there's hoses. So
hey, it's usually in the morning when I'm walking my dog, and I'm sober in the morning. Well, till noon anyway. Damn, I saw a 35-foot long rattlesnake. It was the weirdest green silver color.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So G-Webs, any thoughts on this before we wrap up the topic, I guess? The 410-22 over under?
No, I was trying to talk about NRA before, so we're just talking about these as gun tech. Yeah, I think they're neat. But I don't know. My problem with them is that if you're going to make something like that, it should be short and small. I don't think you need to have this thing be a 22-inch barrel or anything. So I'd like to see these things be, maybe a medium-sized, not a full stock, but not a tiny stock either, but like a medium-sized stock, so that they're, real easy to deal with. And then I'd like to see them fold in half, and the barrels be definitely no longer than the stock, but probably even shorter. And then use that stock as some storage. And then what are we talking? Maybe 12-inch, 14-inch barrels at the longest.
Yeah. Nice little backpack package.
Yeah, and if that could happen, or once we get rid of the NFA and people start to build stuff like that, I see that being much more useful than what we're given now.
No, think of them with composite fiber barrels and steel inserts. I mean, it would weigh nothing, and then you've got a hollow stock, made out of composite. You could just stuff it full of ammo.
Yep, and other stuff. A bunch of supplies, really.
Yeah, some survival stuff, fire starters, that kind of shit. Yeah, that would be out. Think about it. That's almost like the what do you call it? The floaty rifle.
AR-7.
Yeah, like the AR-7, but have it in a 12 gauge that folds up.
And not stupid with a bunch of wasted space in the stock.
Right. Yeah, and something like that just folds together, and you can just snap open or snap closed. Throw a couple of rounds in it. You've got something that it's a firearm. It'll do the job for small game. Man, that'd be great.
Or just be one thing you carry with and have fun on a weekend going camping.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I can imagine just sitting around the campfire, and plinking like you do flowers. Although I think there might be some botanists out there who are probably screaming when you talk about shooting the poor heads off flowers. But you can imagine flowers screaming.
So we were talking about NRA before, though, and I thought that interview was good. It was it could tell it was, I don't know if you want to say scripted, but they did have bullet points that they were addressing. It was a 44-minute interview, and that's why I don't get too worried about them. I mean, it was a position statement in effect, right? They know they've been getting some heat, and they wanted to get some information out there, and Jaeger's got a good medium to get that message out. So they hit a bunch of bullet points in a decent sized interview without being overly wordy. But there were a couple of things, like say, as far as them taking credit for every single thing that's ever happened, where I would have liked in a different kind of setting, in a different kind of circumstances, I'd like to see them address and acknowledge and see where they acknowledge and what they address as far, you know, how they address the, you know, maybe some of the various important ones that have happened over the years. And then maybe go into more detail about some of the things that maybe have to do with the inner workings or the future projects that the NRA's got going on. So, and I don't like it when they allude to, like, you're going to like what's coming. I don't like that. I want to either know what's coming or, you know, I'm not, it was a little bit salesman-y there. So it wasn't a perfect interview, but I think it was a good attempt. And I don't know if you guys finished up with that or not when I cut out before, but would you say it's worth watching for 44 minutes?
I would watch it. See, that's why I'm kind of torn on it. You kind of put it perfectly. That's why I'm sort of torn, is because I do appreciate the fact that he got their position out there, and I do appreciate that Cox was willing to, you know, go out there and have the interview and say his position. But at the same time, it seemed a little, I don't want to say fluff, but that's the only word that comes to mind. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of torn between it, but it's definitely worth checking out. I mean, if you care about the issue, I guess it's worth checking out.
That's a good way to say it.
Yeah,
they didn't. If you care about it, it's worth watching it. But there was nothing new brought up. It was just exactly what we'd heard before from the NRA, and it's basically they didn't change anything, except to maybe take credit for stuff. But like I say, I'll give them a pass on that one, really. This time.
Yeah. You're on notice, though.
No, like I said, they don't always get a pass, but in this particular situation, they're trying to talk about something else. Then I don't care in passing if they take credit for basically everything that's happened, if they're trying to move forward. Anyway, so are we good to go on that first topic then?
Yeah, we all think it's neat.
All right, so let's dig into the second one, which will be how to promote gun shows. And before we do, we're going to take a break between the first and second segment of the show to feature one of the members over at Gun Channels. Gun Channels is a place we built. It's a community. It's focused on firearms. Lots of things to do over there, so I encourage you to check it out. It's completely run by its members, and with that in mind, we feature a member every day on the show. And right now, we're going through the people who we met up with on the Gun Show Loophole Tour. So I think we left off with P226 Nut yesterday in Tulsa, and then we headed down to Dallas to the Gun Rights Policy Conference. I got there like a day early, and I planned to go to gun shows, but I got there a day early, and I'm glad I did because I found out about the Second Amendment Media Summit. And it was like an extra day at the beginning where a bunch of podcasters pretty much got together, not podcasters, bloggers pretty much, and a couple of podcasters got together and talked about what it was like on the internet 5 years ago or 6 years ago. So kind of an interesting day. And then the Gun Rights Policy Conference was Saturday, and I met up with Mr. Wright. So I don't know why I told you about Friday, but I did. So talking about Mr. Wright, longtime member over on Gun Channels, supporter of the stuff we're doing online, and actually a supporter of this show. He's a couple of times now sent in big bags of swag for us to give out in the for the daily tactical pop quiz winners and whatnot, and participates a lot and hung out at the Gun Rights Policy Conference. One of only a couple of people I know who are Gun Channels members that showed up at the conference this year.
Yep. I haven't really had much conversations with Mr. Wright, but I follow him on Instagram and all that. Seems like a pretty good dude.
Bob has nothing good to say, so he's not going to say anything.
Hey, I think he's a great guy. I'm busy pissing around trying to get Instagram to work. God, I hate technology. But yeah, no, he's a great guy.
All right. I know Instagram is hard. And with that, we'll move into the gun business, how to promote gun shows. So I think their typical trifecta is radio shows, gun shop, like pieces of paper, and then signs stuck all around the town. I guess
Talking about like flyers, you mean, the piece of paper?
they'll put flyers in gun shops, and then sometimes little coupons or like $1 off. Then they'll put little stakes in the ground with the like garage sale signs, except they say gun show. They'll do that all over the place. And I guess you could count billboards. Some of the bigger shows will put on, put billboards up on the side of the road, and then radio. That's what the three places I see them most.
Yeah, I was wondering, since that last one, the one that we went to, it was, I don't know, man. I feel like that the promotion could have been better, but if they were telling the truth, it seems like they did everything that they could. Maybe kind of like spreading it more to a social media platform. I mean, that seems to be kind of like a lot of people are unplugging from their regular stuff and going to Facebook and that kind of stuff, Instagrams, all that. I don't know if there would be like a better way than the usual radio flyers and that kind of stuff. Just spitballing, I guess.
No, I hear you, and I think that's an obvious one that they don't really seem to worry about too much. The better shows will attract more people, and then I think typically more people bring more customers or more attendees, and then that brings in people who have something to sell that might not normally go to a gun show, because they'll go to the biggest gun shows. In other words, just the biggest gun shows. And when those people attend, a lot of times they'll have that presence on social media, and then they'll tell people, here's an unusual thing. I'm going to be at a gun show this weekend, or this is the gun show that I go to. Remember, I'll be here this weekend. Maybe it's just to say orders will be shipped on Monday, or it's to say stop by and see us at the gun show. And then, that becomes a plug to a whole level of people like you're talking about, that internet group of people that might not ever see the other things. And, they probably feed on each other. The large show attracts those people who have an audience, and then they tell their audience, and that attracts even more people. So how do you have that happen more often or whatever, I guess? Is that something that's scalable, or is that something that's, I think a gun show promoter, if they were thinking, they would strategically invite people who have giant audiences and who talk about where they're going and who tend to bring their audiences with them to physical events like that. But I don't see that happening. At least it's not obvious that that's happening.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that there's definitely different ways that they could go about it. But inviting somebody, like you were saying, though, it would be hard. I mean, somebody that has like 100,000 or whatever. I guess that's a big number to me, but like 1 million subscribers or followers on Instagram or something like that. That they would send them a message and hey, we're having this such and such in your local area, whatever.
Well, maybe we're talking about it differently, but when you're talking 1 million followers on Instagram, that's what I would call like an influencer. Somebody who's, I don't know if that's the correct term or not, but somebody who's, got their finger on the pulse, and they can either do or repost or have conversations that appeal to a lot of people, and they get a large following. But that's just like the big YouTubers. That's only one facet of it. When we're talking about people who have an active Instagram audience, or that participate with them on their Instagram, it's not necessarily the size of those accounts. Now, typically they're in the tens of thousands size. I mean, when you are active on a platform with that many people, potentially, you're going to typically attract people, but not in those huge numbers. And that's the thing. I don't think a gun show wouldn't do any, it wouldn't help a gun show to have like a Hickok walking around, right? Or even to have like a come meet Iraqi veteran or something. But if you had, I don't know, the holster manufacturer who's active on Instagram at the show, keychain guy who's active at Instagram at the show, Kydex holster guy, at the show, some guy writing a book or something at the show, some guy sharpening knives or making knives, active on Instagram at the show. So you seed it with people who have active internet presence, no matter what it is, Instagram or book or whatever. And then maybe, I don't know. So my answer to it, and I've put a lot of time and thought into it too, is just there's a lot of things. I think we could probably have a whole discussion on it. But just for those reasons, when you sign up for a show, typically they're going to ask you for your money and maybe some information to, if you're using a credit card, so that they have enough information to charge your credit card. But other than that, they don't care what you're doing. Sometimes the show will ask you what you're selling, so that maybe they put you somewhere else if you got knives. I imagine if we would have told the lady we were selling patches at this Prescott show, she might not have put us next to a table that was literally just a whole table or two of patches, right? So, just so that they're not putting people similar stuff right next to each other. But other than that, they don't put a lot of attention to that. And I don't know if that's a dynamic that the promoters are just old and they never did it that way, or they just don't see the value in doing something like that, or they don't have the resources to pursue it. If they do, I really don't know. I haven't talked to them enough on stuff like that yet. But yeah, when we look at what is YouTube or what is Facebook or what is Instagram, it's a whole bunch of people that are sharing their interest in stuff, right? And what's a gun show? It's a whole bunch of people that show up on a weekend to share their interests in stuff. So it makes no sense to me, especially when everybody's walking around with phones, why gun shows aren't the physical incarnation of all the, social media conversations and debates and, educational things that are happening. I mean, it really could be the what do they call that thing? What do they call those meetups from the internet? It could be one of those kind of things, just the place where everybody comes to actually get together once every couple of months or once a month, even depending on how big the place is. But, there'll be food trucks, people in the foodie area. They look at each other's pictures of food. Maybe they watch people make food, or they hear about stories of the recipes or something, or the ingredients, I guess. I don't know, all the different things people are interested in with food. But then what do? Every once in a while they get together and eat, right? So that's the one thing we're lacking as a community, is the getting together. And gun shows seem like the perfect place or the perfect potential for that, right? To meet up. So how do you promote a gun show? By letting people know it's out there. And I really think you promote it by looking inwards at the people who are there setting up. Those people drove from all around the state, probably, maybe even further, to set up there. And again, they're all sitting there with a phone and they're all bored. So I think you could really do some interesting stuff at a gun show to just turn it into the events that they used to be, when there was nothing else like them. It's a little bit, people glaze over when, oh, big deal, a gun show, I can go buy any of that stuff online, maybe some of it cheaper. But then they're missing what half the gun show is. It's not just the accumulation of the stuff in one room, it's the people that brought that stuff there.
Yeah, and going along with that point you were making, I think you were talking about it a while back about going live from a gun show. People could even do that, like, I don't know, Facebook Live, Instagram Live. They got all types of things where you can go on and be like, hey, we're here at Prescott Gun Show. Look at everything that's around here, that type of stuff. I might get somebody off the couch that's watching, like, oh man, I'm only an hour away from there.
I think another one would be the food. A lot of times the venues, kind of infringe on what they can do for food, but be creative about the venues and let the food itself be part of the promotion. Again, you get 12 food trucks and they're all telling their people that they're going to be at this gun show. Now you've got the potential of them bringing people who just want to eat that burrito this weekend, or just want that, coffee cake on Sunday morning. And now they're coming to a gun show to get it. What? And they're going to go inside a gun show. This will be funny because these guys are all going to be rednecks. Oh, I never thought it was like this before. Now they're walking out with a gun. Now they're a gun advocate. What? Sarah Brady. We just converted Sarah Brady. See? That's the kind of potential we got.
Yeah, but what kind of guns do hipsters even own?
Probably like what's the word? Vintage ones, obscure ones you haven't even heard of.
Yeah, like I could see a hipster walking around with a Luger or something like that.
Yeah, or some old Webley.
A Lamat.
Like
Yeah.
whatever the most steampunk of the old riverboat guns.
Oh, yeah. Can you imagine?
Oh, Angry brings up a good point. CZ.
Yeah.
Hipsters love CZs. Well, that's true, because we do know our pet hipster.
Resident hipster.
Angry saying let the people take pictures with vendor approval. Yeah, there should be like a picture taking area. If they're so worried about pictures, I don't know why they are anymore. But yeah, there should be some sort of a picture area where you're encouraged to take pictures on your way out. You know, post a picture, get a coupon for next show. Post a picture of your gun show loot. All right, so we'll continue to come up with ideas, and let's talk about how awesome it is that a bunch of people are jumping on board with the Gun Show Loophole Tour. So we've got 12 people now that are on board, and we're heading to Wanamaker Gun Show. So it's a good time to get on board. So we're going to take in 12 people's money to Tulsa. What is it possible to figure out what 12 times 25 is while we're live here? Is that $400?
What was it again? 12 and 25?
Pretty sure that's $400.
3.
Damn, 300. See, that's why I'm not good at math. But anyway, $300 I'm taking to Wanamaker at this point, spending your money and then shipping it to you. So yeah, this is a good time to jump in on that. And dang, what was I going with that? That we'll be talking to. Oh, I guess that's where I was going. We'll be talking to more promoters and as we get on the road. So at this point, we're up to $1,000 over on Patreon. The goal is to get up to 3,000. So we're a third of the way there, people. Like we are almost there, and we're talking 12 people over on the gun shop stuff. So we're already talking about walking around gun shows this weekend to buy stuff for 12 different people, and we're talking about going to Wanamaker to buy stuff for 12 people with hundreds of bucks. So as we go around doing that and talking to these gun shows, that's a whole nother conversation with them. Right now I'm walking into a gun show and paying the admission price and then asking if it's okay to talk to the promoter. I explained that I'm driving around the country looking at gun shows, if it's okay to take a picture. It's a little bit different when I can say, hey, I'm driving around the country checking out gun shows and I'm here to spend, my goal is to say $4,000 or maybe $1,000, I guess, because I'm going to be going to more than one gun show a month. But you know what, I can come in and say, I'm going to be spending $1,000. Let's promote your show. Like, let's make sure that $1,000, is used to do what these people want it to be used for. And that's promoting small businesses and promoting the gun show vendors and that kind of thing. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. And hopefully we'll get some feedback from them and we'll be able to plant some of these seeds. Like I say, even something as simple as just a table with a little screen behind it with the vendor's logo that says maybe the times and dates of the gun shows for the year, and then encourage people to set their stuff down and take a picture. And if they don't want to take a picture with their own phone, which you should encourage them to do, take a picture with the gun show's phone, put it on the gun show's Instagram account. Imagine how much different it would be when somebody can scroll through a Instagram page or a Facebook page or a gun channel's channel with a bunch of pictures of all the different loot that a bunch of people came out of the gun show with. That's kind of neat. I would think that would be something that would give people new ideas and get people frustrated, like, oh, I didn't know that was going to be there and he got the last one, or maybe there's more, I'm going to go in tomorrow. So something as simple as that might be a way to get people off their butts and down to the show. So anyway, we'll continue to do that, and I do appreciate everybody that's jumping in on the Patreon to allow that to happen. We're looking forward to what it's going to be like when we're driving around, doing nothing but checking out gun shops and gun shows and talking about it on the Daily Show.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be cool. And I just real quick before we wrap this little part of it up, I just want to say people out there that are real gung-ho about supporting their local shop and keeping the brick and mortars in business and all that. A lot of the gun show, like those people, they're either coming from there or that's their part-time job. There are a lot of people out there who are just enjoying it and getting out there and setting up a table and trying to make a couple extra bucks. But there's some people where, that's a one source of their income. So going out there and supporting those gun shows is a pretty important thing for the community, I think.
Very much so. I mean, we've been, over the last 20 years, I've seen less and less gun shows. And, a lot of those gun shops, that's a big chunk of money for them. It's like, every time the gun show comes through, it brings them more clients, brings them more people, because they're at the gun show. People go, oh, you're local? Oh, great. I'll come in, and, even if they buy from the gun show, then, they will still be in that gun shop later, because, they know that the gun shop doesn't bring everything they have to the gun show.
Yeah, exactly. And they might not have even known that place existed. So yeah, definitely.
Or forgot about it. Exactly. Yeah. Like, shit, you're over there. Well, next time I go over there, I can go get coffee at that place and get pizza on the way home. And yeah, I'm coming over there next week.
Yeah,
exactly. So yeah, gun shows are still important.
What do you think about having something to do with the wives? Like having like a little area, put the wives in that they enjoy, so that they don't hate the gun show.
So something like you'd have for your kids when you're at the gym or something, like a little play center for the wives?
I'm not saying like a hitching post like you'd hitch your horse up to at the front of a bar.
Well, because if you tie them up, they get all angry.
Yeah.
Exactly. But maybe like put all the little baubles into a separate show up front. Has anybody seen anything like that?
Oh, with the jewelry and the leather tooled purses and stuff like that. And maybe right next to that, you could have all the pink pistols. I don't know. That might be insulting to some women.
That's sexist. Yeah. I noticed that at the, where the hell was it? In the Albuquerque gun show I went to was insane. It's the stupid fairgrounds, which is dumb. And there's no maps. So you're entering a massive complex, but you don't know where you are. And there's just like guards that take your money every time you pull in from the main roads. And then once you're in there, it's just no man's land. And there's just weird buildings. It's a huge place for the fairgrounds for probably the state. And anyway, it's just super confusing. And when I finally did get directed to park at a place, it was like on the wrong side of the building from a gem show, which was happening at the same exact time, but like across the way from the gun show. So gem show and gun show, talk about confusing for the signs and stuff. So anyway, it made me think though, why aren't they putting things like gem shows or jewelry shows or something like either in the same venue or next door or something, but do something alternative, maybe a home show. But how come these things don't combine, especially when they're not big enough to fill a venue?
Huh?
Yeah, good point.
Because I was like, if you're going to come in here and park and everything, I mean, I could totally see where you're like, okay, honey, go to your show and I'll be back in a bit. And then you go to the gun show for as long as you want. And then when you're done, she's still going to be looking around the whatever that other show is. No, just an idea for some of the larger, like say, fairgrounds and things where they're huge.
Yeah, you could have maybe crafts and arts. I don't know. See, that my problem is I have no idea what women really like, which is probably why I'm single.
Purses and bras and shoes and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, shoes. I know about the shoes.
Anything really that has sparkly stuff on it, I think that would do.
Anything you can buy more than one of.
And that pretty much makes sure we're never going to have a large female audience.
Oh no, we're covered. They talked about it the other day on the Ghost show. It was on Clover's show. It was on Clover's show. So we solved it on Clover's show yesterday. Well, we can't. There's just gonna be tons of women around here like pretty soon.
All right. So let's move on from that before we dig this hole any deeper.
All right. Well, next we're going to be talking about flag art, so that won't be controversial. So instead of doing that, why don't I open up this?
We currently have a number of active projects.
So we've got an opportunity for you. If I can screen share here.
We currently have a number of active projects and even more on the drawing board, so we'd like to increase the size of our team. But rather than post an anonymous help wanted ad on the internet, we thought we'd reach out to existing gun content creators for some collaboration. We're looking for video editors, creative people who are interested, willing, most importantly able, to help us take our raw footage and get it online as edited videos. You won't need to be already proficient, but you should be at least familiar with your video editing software. We're looking for creative help, getting finished videos up on the web, rendered, uploaded, even more help in the future if it works out. We won't pay you, but we will give you public credit on our videos as the editor. You'll have full creative control of the videos. We really want this to be a creative collaboration, so you'll have final control of the finished product. If this is something you're interested in, please contact Jimmy at gunwebsites.com. We'll get you some raw video and we'll take a look at what you can do. If it all works out, we look forward to having you as a member of the Gun Website shooting team. Thanks for watching.
So there you go. We're putting out some help wanted signs to bring on some editors. We got 300 gigs of raw footage, and want to put some of that up a little faster than our narrow pipelines can do it right now. So we're going to need some help to accomplish that.
Yeah, no kidding.
So if you're interested in, if you're already a video editor and you want to get some, what would you call that? Like writer's credit or creator's credit on the Gun Websites channel. It'll go out to 160,000+ people. I suspect as soon as it's better than anything we do, which will not be difficult, it'll probably get more views than anything we've ever done. So you'll have an opportunity to get in front of a lot of people, and you'll have full credit. It'll attribute to your channel and your projects. So we'll be happy to direct people over. If they enjoy what you've done with our raw footage, then we look forward to collaborate with you in the future, and hopefully you grow and helps give your channel a kickstart. And if you're just interested in the hobby of video editing, again, we're not good at that part at all, and there's just too much to do even if we were. So if you're interested in learning that skill set, this might be an opportunity for you, so you don't have to go find raw data. We got plenty of that. And I think it also would be neat to just change up the Gun Websites YouTube channel a bit to have more than one flavor over there. So it's not just my crude, whip it together type production, which I don't have a problem with, but I know a lot of people seem to flip out about. So yeah, it looks like an opportunity, hopefully, for everybody. And as we get on the road, we're going to depend on people like that, you more and more. So if you're interested in being a member of the team, talk to Jimmy at gunwebsites.com.
There you go. So anybody who's interested out there, I mean, for sure, send us a message into Jimmy, and we'll be going through them, because I mean, literally, I can't edit at all, so I can't do a whole lot on the computer. So anyway, yeah, we definitely need more people, and it would be kind of nice to get, like G was saying, a little different editing styles, because there are a lot of different ways you can do stuff out there rather than the way G does it. And yeah, it'd be nice to see. We've got the footage. We always have the footage, but we don't always have the time to get it done, or at least in a timely manner.
All right, yeah. And with that, I guess we'll move into flag art, or unless you want to do one of the other topics.
What do we got here? Might as well dig into that real quick.
Yep.
I am slow on queuing.
It gets a little breezy.
So I'm not a fan of it. I mean, we got a First Amendment right to do whatever we want with our flag, and we don't live in Nazi Germany, so we are legally able to do whatever we want with our flag, but I'm just not a big fan. I just don't like to see our flag screwed around with or whatever. I can deal with it, but I'm not a big fan. What about you guys?
I would agree with you. I have tons of patches that have been given to me throughout the years that are American flag, and I've never really put them on anything. But I do kind of dig that new thing that's out, that the blue line one. I do kind of dig that, just to kind of show like police solidarity. But I mean, I guess in the same aspect, it's the American flag and they're screwing with the colors, I guess. But
Yeah, I was just raised differently than you guys because we don't really have a flag code like that. And I mean, we didn't even have a real flag up until like the 70s. And well, we had a flag that, you know, had the British flag incorporated into it, whereas, you know, the flag we have now is our big giant marijuana maple leaf. You know, there's not a whole lot you can do with our flag as far as, yeah, you can turn it into clothes and everything. Apparently it's really good if you're over in Europe, or it used to be. I don't know if it is anymore. But yeah, so I don't have that same thing. I do like the blue line flag like Jimmy was talking about, but I mean, now they've gone, there's all these different colors of it, and that gets annoying. I mean, you guys do have a cool flag. I do like the flag, and I understand the flag code. I wish we had something like that so people would, you know, would understand to respect more about it. I mean, our veterans have a very different view on the flag than the average Canadian, you know, because they live and die under that flag. So, you know, I understand, but I don't in some ways, and at least I'm not really upset about it like some people can be. But then you know, I was never raised with that same kind of respect to the flag like you guys were. Like say, my flag changed in the middle of my life. So
Yeah, our flag changes all the time too. Whenever we bring more states on, it's changed quite a bit.
But that's, you add a star, you know.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I think it's all about respect. We have a flag code. We don't have a flag law. So it means it's up to the individual to respect or pay attention to the flag up to their discretion. And that's the best thing about it, is that it's an individual free. It's our liberty. We can do what we want about it. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of the thin blue line stuff, because I can understand it within the brotherhood, but when it comes out, then there's so much connotation, especially now, about this like artificial division, this engineered division between civilians and law enforcement, that I just don't see it as, you know, it's aggravating that engineered divide. And to some extent, you gotta do whatever you're going to do anyway. They're trying to engineer something. You don't just buckle because they're trying to do something. But on the other hand, I see it as being divisive and not understood by so many people. But mainly it's because it's a flag, and they almost always put it on your right shoulder. For whatever reason, people like to put the flag backwards and run it like you're on a vehicle. But the code says unless you're on the clock, you don't put a flag on. So that's why I agree with Jimmy. I don't put flags on nothing. Not because I'm not proud of it, but because I respect it, and I'm not on the clock anymore, so I'm not wearing the flag.
yeah, and I agree with you too. But the thin blue line thing, I just have a little bit of a difference of opinion. I do understand that it is a manufactured divide. I agree with you on that part. But I look at the thin blue line thing, even though it is still our flag, kind of more of a solidarity. I don't know. Maybe I took the meaning of it the wrong way. But.
No, that's exactly what it's all about, I think. But it's just one of those things. It's like out here in Arizona, I think they got it everywhere, the police association or whatever, and you donate to this BS charity and you get a little decal, and then that's supposed to be like don't give me a ticket because I give to your pension fund or whatever little thing. So if it's trying to be that, then cops aren't stupid. They know what the deal is. And if it's a criminal trying to, you know, hey, no, look at me, I'm pro cop. Again, I think cops are pretty savvy, but like I say, I didn't have a problem with the thin blue line when it was in the brotherhood. The cops knew what it was, and everybody else wondered what that line was. But now that it's sort of mainstream, it's lost
everybody
authenticity to some extent. So I'd rather let it stay with the cops and not have just, you know, everybody out there thinking it's a cool looking flag.
Okay, I could agree with you on that point then. Yeah, I hear you on that.
But I also just don't like wearing a flag. I mean, you're going to throw your jacket on the ground. You're throwing your flag on the ground. It just doesn't make sense to me. Put it on a bag, throw your bag on the ground. I got too much respect for the thing. What do you think about these art things where, like, okay, let's make a bunch of wood into a distressed flag looking thing and stick it on the wall and put a shotgun behind it? It's like all the rage right now.
No, I'm not against it, but I wouldn't do it.
I just don't see the appeal to having a distressed flag. Like, it doesn't make any sense. I can totally understand why you'd have an actual authentic flag that's seen a battle or something and not put it down and instead honor it and put it on a shadow box or something. Totally understandable. I guess I can understand art, you know, art's art, but yeah, I just don't see I don't understand the distressed flag thing. Like if it was a piece of driftwood or, you know, like you know, just to put it in with the theme of the room or whatever. So it's just another piece of art. Just seems, I don't know, doesn't give it the respect, I guess is the word.
Yeah.
I don't want to speak for people. I'm sure they're putting it in there because they have the ultimate respect for it and they want that theme to run through their house. So it's definitely a whatever personal.
It's a personal preference, I think. Yeah. I mean, since I've been hanging out around with you, G, I've actually come to kind of come around to your point of view that, you know, if you're going to respect it, then respect it, and show proper respect for it. Now that may just be, you know, you're that way more because you served, but you know, it does make sense to me. I really, other than I'll wear a little Canadian pin sometimes. That's about the only Canadian flag art type shit I'll do.
Actually, I became aware of my, I don't know, relationship with the flag when I was a scout. It had nothing to do with my military service. I definitely don't feel that people who've done military service are at some threshold or some level above anybody else. They've simply decided to, you know, have a commitment to their country, but it doesn't, you don't do that to get better from it. You do that to offer service. So never going to suggest that because somebody signed something one time or did some stuff sometime that they're now a better citizen or they have more rights to the opinion on something. If anything, it was just when I was a kid and doing all the parades, right? Respect, you know, learning the basic respect of the flag, teaching that to younger kids, seeing the old folks who had such pride in watching a bunch of kids walk down the street with the flag. You know, again, teaching that stuff to little kids, that stuff is what the flag's all about. And then going into a store and seeing a bunch of Chinese garbage with the flag printed all over it, it's just frustrating because, again, it's just callousing it over. Like, you know, you make a bunch of million of them and you put them down the street. It's just moving away from respect, especially when you could have chose to just put red, white, and blue bunting or little colors out there. You don't have to mimic the flag. That just shows a total lack of awareness of the code.
Well, that's the thing too, is that I don't think a lot of people are even really aware of the flag code.
No, that's what's frustrating about it. And then nobody does anything intentionally. I don't think. I'm almost positive most of the time people don't do it intentionally. Moon is saying when we met up, he had a flag hat or something. I didn't even notice that. But I did meet up with somebody on the tour who was wearing one of these shirts that's basically made out of an American flag, like, you know, not just an iron-on the front, but like the entire material is printed in flags. And then he had like flag sweatpants on. So yeah, that was super distracting. I could barely even talk to the dude. I'm like, seriously? What's wrong with freaking more?
So he tore it up and then put it back together as an outfit. Yeah.
And I don't know what the deal is. It's like what somebody in Europe would put on to mock, you know, redneck Americans. So I guess there's something about, you know, being sarcastic or something and wearing it like, you know, I care so much that I don't have to care or something. I really don't know.
I'm beyond caring.
That was definitely more distracting than somebody just wearing a hat or something with a flag on it. I mean, I'm kind of.
How about Apollo Creed's trunks, boxing trunks?
Yeah, see, I'd kick somebody like that in the nuts if it was a friend of mine or something. Like, what the fuck? The NRA shows are tough. The NRA shows out here, the NRA has a meeting once a year, and they literally chop up a flag and turn it into, like, you know, button-down shirts. And they think it's cool as shit. I yell at them every single time I see them wearing it. I'm like, how can you wear that? And I'll tell it to them, but they still wear it. What's sad is they'll have the like pocket constitutions that a lot of times they'll have the flag code, like on the back cover or like in one of the pages or something. You can show it to them. It says you shouldn't wear a flag right here. Okay. All right. Well, that's a little harping on the flag. Have we done the missile silo in the church on the missile silo yet?
I don't think so. What was the weather like there?
What?
Was it windy?
Oh, I see.
I see where you guys are going with this one. Everybody knows what that sound means. It's time to crack your knuckles, whip out them keyboards, and get ready for the daily tactical pop quiz. I got eyes over on the YouTube side, or I can get the gun channel side. I got both of them pulled up. Don't matter to me. So here is the question. This one was brought to you by Angry American. He sent it over to dailygunshow@gmail.com. So if anybody has any questions or show topics, we have had a couple come in and are reviewing them right as we speak. So keep it up, and we will keep on using them.
Getting answers on the YouTube side.
Nope. Yeah, gun channels too. 42. All right, so here it is. What was the date of the first ever SHOT Show? What was the date of the first ever SHOT Show?
Full date, everybody. You got to have the month, day, and year. Got it. Sean Connery again. January 19th, 1970.
Well,
Wow.
if everybody wasn't aware from the past two daily pop quizzes, Sean Connery's back.
He is kicking ass as usual.
Yeah.
Go, Sean.
It's because there's prizes again.
Hey. So, Sean, you know, that makes you the daily pop quiz hot shot of the day. And boy, maybe you can do that better than me. That's
think you
better than say, you know. Maggie can do anything better than me.
Yeah.
So what was the answer to this? When was the first SHOT Show?
The answer to this question was, I'm trying to BS while I get over here, January 19th, 1979.
Although Snake's not very good at guessing because he guessed the 7th.
Yeah.
6. Ah, geez, Smeggy.
Just a decade off. Just about a decade. That's, you know.
Yeah. Just a decade off. Not bad, you know. That's pretty good for Smeggy, you know, because he is a hipster.
Yeah.
All right. So then we're going to move into the gun shop of the day. Today it's a church.
What?
Yeah.
Church of Gun?
North of Tucson, in the town of Catalina, there's a Methodist church called the Vista de la Montaña United Methodist Church, and it sits on one of the 54 Titan II intercontinental ballistic missile silos. There were 18 of them, 2 squadrons here in Tucson. The others were in Little Rock, Arkansas, and then in Kansas. And in 1992, once they were decommissioned, the church bought this property and the 10 acres around it to move their church and put it on the nuclear missile silo. So we start the video there over at the road from the Pima Pistol Club, which is where they hold the axe matches or whatever they're called now. We were up there checking it out before the gun show loophole tour, and we haven't been to the church in a while, so decided to drive over just a couple of blocks down the road there, as you can see. And then you drive down the typical intercontinental ballistic missile silo driveway, which are made so that they can bring the missiles in and out. Makes it a little easier to find them out in the desert, and I was able to find them with the driveways out in Little Rock as well. So as we come into the property here, over to the right, first thing you find, evidence of the old silo is one of the wells. There's usually a couple of these on a missile silo. And then as we kind of do a turnaround in the driveway there, so you can see what the property looks like and how interesting the mountains are around there. There's the church over to our left. Now we're hitting the parking lot and going south again. And we'll see a couple of the scars. Some of the antennas, they kind of look like manhole covers that the church has left there as indication of what was formerly there. So we can see there's one of the antenna positions, and there was a couple of three of these usually on a, well, there was always three of them on a missile silo. And we'll stop the van here and get out and look at the third one. So they left them there as a reminder of why they put the church there. Looking at just a pad here where they probably had like a guard post or something back in the old days. And then up here is one of the other antenna scars. The third one is there in front of the van, and then the church is behind the van there. I'm about to point at that well that we first drove in and took a look at, which is over to the west end of the property there. And when they first moved the church here, when they bought the property, they put the playground right on top of the silo. So that makes the living quarters probably somewhere underneath the parking lot there. And then the church is just adjacent to it all. So it's a pretty cool conclusion to one of the Titan II intercontinental ballistic missile silos, and an interesting story. We took a look at some of the silos in Arkansas as well as part of the Gun Show Loophole Tour. Check those out in future videos. Thanks for watching.
So that place is pretty cool.
Yeah, very cool.
Every day we try to feature a gun shop. Today it's a church sitting on top of a missile silo.
Now, were you able to, I think you already said that you didn't, but were you able to get any that was actually on private property, any footage or anything like that? I remember you saying there was one on a house.
You talking about in Tucson or in Arkansas?
I thought that was out there in Arkansas.
This here is in Tucson.
Oh,
But,
that one. Oh, okay.
the ones in Arkansas, I was only able to, well, I walked onto one, maybe legally, maybe not. And then I didn't want to keep doing that, so I just went to the other ones. And then the only one I really got invited onto was the one that exploded.
Oh, right. Okay.
Which is the coolest one, I must add.
Well, it has the most historical significance for damn sure, and definitely the most interesting because we know the owner of it. So yeah, I got a much more big picture of how the whole silos worked. You know, it was from the 60s to the 80s, so it was just a few decades really where they existed.
Yeah, I think it's kind of a really interesting thing that they would put a church on it. That is kind of the ultimate sword into a plowshare, right? Is to put your place of worship being life, because that's kind of what churches do, on top of something that was designed to end life on earth.
Yeah, very much. They did it intentionally. They purposely bought that property to do that, just that thing.
I think it's pretty cool. You didn't get there?
I talked to people at the church when I first found out about it. That would have been like years ago, and they didn't know anything about it. So I don't know if, who knows. But now when you go to their website, they have an about page where they talk about it's a Methodist church, and it's up in the foothills north of Tucson. And when it was created, it was like they met up at in the park or whatever, in the national forest or whatever it is there. Like they would just meet up at the picnic grounds. It was that kind, it started from those kind of beginnings. And then they had built a first church somewhere down the road from it. Then in their second year, raised the money to buy the silo property and then moved their existing church to that property. So it was, I don't know if it was from the beginning, the goal, but once they saw that property was obtainable and what it was, then they definitely did it, again, to put a church on the silo. And as far as I know, that's the only effort like that's been done with any of the 54 silos. So not only is it cool, but it's singularly unique. It's very cool.
Yeah, I really think that's a cool idea. But yeah, where are we at now? That was
I think that could bring us to the gun.
I guess. Yeah, this is one that I frankly really I kind of watched it and went, that's crazy. But it's the Russian Nikonov AN-94.
Careful there.
Yeah, this was apparently supposed to replace the AK-74, and it does shoot the same round. That 5.45, is it? Yeah. But it was designed to actually have a 2-round burst capability that fired the 2 rounds before you felt the impulse from the first one. So those 2 rounds would be, you're not getting any recoil on you're not feeling any recoil, and the second round's already going out the barrel. When I watched the video on it and saw the insides and heard how complex it was, I thought, my God, did they like kidnap some German designers? Because it is, yeah, it's a antithesis. It's the opposite of what you expect from a Russian gun. It's incredibly complicated and a weird gun. I mean, the magazine comes out and cants out to the side. Just a strange design, and I don't know if it ever did replace the AK-74. I don't think so. But yeah, it's a very strange gun for the Russians to have. Interesting, but weird. So I don't know if you guys know anything about it. Like, gee, I don't know. You're the Kalashnikov, or the AK guy. But,
never shot one, but yeah, they were an experimental. They got a lot of play as a lot of build-up as the replacement for the AK or whatever. But like you said, nothing ever came of it. It's like looking at the inside of a radiator inside of there.
Yeah, it's bizarre because in order to be able to feed those 2 rounds, like the amount of moving parts and mechanism, it's incredibly complex, and it looks like it's got a lot of ways it can fuck up. Excuse my language, but a lot of ways it can malfunction, in my opinion. Now, Russians do make good guns. Maybe it works. I don't know. I just, I think this was just kind of a dead end branch on the AK ladder, really.
So the bolt carrier wrapped around this here, it looked like? And a little wire that came out?
Yeah, well, because it couldn't, the bolt couldn't come back to feed the next round fast enough, right? So it actually carried around, that second round for the 2-round burst, it carried around kind of in the carrier. So yeah, it was a weird design. It's hard to even put it in. It's just, hard to explain. But
I could see.
Yeah, it's crazy complicated, which just seems completely the opposite of what the Russians build. So yeah, I can see why it didn't get any traction, especially with troops. I can see troops just going, "This is stupid," And it was, the whole idea of we're just going to have 2 rounds, they're going to come out and hit the same spot. I mean, I know they've tried that with different, using binary rounds and stuff like that, so that they could punch out 2 projectiles with each pull of the trigger. But this was, I mean, it worked, but yeah, look, you look at how complex that is on the inside, and it's the opposite of what you expect from an AK.
It's crazy. Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, so it's an interesting branch or concept, but I don't know what the point of it was. So you can empty your mag twice as fast.
And that's the thing; it still had full auto.
Let's use tiny bullets. Well, it was designed so you, like you said, you could shoot a bullet, but 2 bullets came out, and it didn't change. The 2 bullets went in the same place. So it was like, let's use a tiny bullet and then have to make a whole nother gun that shoots 2 of them because they're so pointless. So it's like, oh, let's make a toilet that flushes with less water, and then everybody has to flush it twice.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good way to put it. It's like a low flush toilet. Moon out there is saying, I'll bet a captured 80-year-old Nazi made that, designed it. Maybe. And he was going senile, but he still had that German, there's not enough parts in here. Let's add some more.
It's had a pulley in it.
This is when you start to see the influence of computers and stuff. So you got the AK being old Soviet Russian, you know, you see literally see the picture of them drawing it on a drawing board with paper and a pencil. And then this is what happens when you give a bunch of Russians a computer. Don't build a gun.
Yeah, that may be what it is. I mean, like any gun that's got pulleys in it is just, to me, is like crazy.
Surprised it doesn't have a little lever down at the bottom somewhere.
Yeah.
But
This is the ejecting lever.
it's I mean, I don't know of it being anything more than just over a prototype. Like it was never seriously considered for anything, right?
Also, I never actually saw any real action ever.
I think
I'd be surprised if more than hundreds of them even exist.
Yeah, I don't know the exact number. Yeah, like say it's hundreds or possibly 1,000, but I mean, it was probably given to some special forces to try. And, you know, maybe in particular circumstances, it might be useful, but I mean, you know, for the amount of extra complexity and everything, it's just not worth it. You might as well, you're better off just carry the AK-74 and it is going to function. Like this thing is just, yeah,
it's weird.
Yeah, just too many moving parts. Like I say, it almost seems like a German design. But that's like G is saying, that's computers, because with a computer, you can make anything work. You know, you can design anything with a computer almost. But
and you hook the computer up to a mill and it can, you know, Skynet can make any weird, complicated part now. So now you can come up with anything, create it. Now you just have to figure out why you made it in the first place.
And how to take it down and put it back together and all that.
Yeah, well, I think Forgotten Weapons has because that was one of the sources I used on this. And he's got a good teardown video, but I mean, even he has trouble explaining it. He's much better at explaining stuff than I am. Yeah, it's like, I think his point was after he explained it, is that clear as mud?
Yeah.
Because the whole concept, it's just hard to wrap your head around. But yeah, it was
94 2006. The average 94 in 2006.
Yeah, it turned into a bit of a robot there, G. But yeah, I get what you're saying. Like, yeah, Night Strike saying between 94 and 2006. But I mean, you know, 94 is when they started producing some prototypes, some early prototypes, and then I'm sure they had all kinds of production problems with it. So how many?
The year 94.
Yeah, 1994 to 2006.
I thought you meant the number, like the quantity, 94 to 2000.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but I doubt if there was more than, you know, a few thousand. I don't know what the numbers are, if anybody even mentioned them, but in what I was looking up. But yeah, it is really something, because you don't expect something like that to come out of Soviet designs.
All you got to do is go find any pictures of them in use anywhere. You got Saviarno and all them freaking battles they've had between those times. Go just find any of them.
Yeah, and you never.
I think you're wrong. Go find us pictures. There should be lots of pictures if they were in use for over a decade.
Yeah, I don't think they were in use for over a decade. I think maybe some special forces groups got them, but why would you be giving this to your regular troops when you've got, you know, AK-74s that work really well? And, you know, most of the Soviet troops are not going to be seeing combat. The only ones they're much like what's happening in the U.S. now, and it's mostly special forces are the ones that are seeing combat.
We really only have 12 people watching.
I don't know how many we got. I've got 27 watching, but only 15 thumbs up on YouTube.
Oh, mine said 12, and I refreshed it. I had to refresh.
Night Strike thinks we're wrong, but I mean, it's Night Strike, so.
He's trying to divide it. He's trying to divide the Daily
Trying
Gun
to
Show.
divide. Yeah, he's a divisive night striker.
Divider.
So this movie is in here. We try to come up with a gun movie every day. Movie that you might not have seen before. You're a millennial, like Smanky apparently. Then movie ain't seen yet. So this is called Gone with the Wind.
Yeah, well, it was during the Civil War, so there must have been some Civil War guns in it. I'm sure there were cannons in it. Now, I saw this movie, oh gosh, because it was one of the first movies in color. I saw it a long time ago. And, but yeah, it was kind of a love story more than it was a gun one. But I guess they did have a few guns in it. Of course, you're going to. It was during the Civil War. So, yeah, there's a few guns we see. Oh, yeah, you even see one of the ladies wielding one.
I think she's the only one in the whole movie that shoots a gun.
Maybe.
This is like about Civil War or whatever. Was it like a bunch of guns in the beginning when their houses were getting? I don't remember this movie. Was it like the typical Civil War movie where the Yankees come in and destroy the town, and then all the slave owners are like, "Oh, we're poor slave owners, they're being mean to us."
I think at the end of it, the mansion got burned down and everything. But they did have some Civil War scenes, like as we're seeing in the screen shares Jimmy's putting up. But it wasn't, guns were not the major factor in it. It was this kind of love story thing.
Yeah. The horrible love story drama.
Yeah. But I mean, it was color. This is like one of the first color movies. I mean,
color. Oh, well.
it was a big thing. It was when they first put sound in them.
A movie that wasn't written in stone.
Hey, it was that long before this that sound had just come out, and that blew everybody's mind. So you can imagine what color was like. Because like we're so spoiled nowadays, right? Like back in the day, it was like, I grew up without TV until I was like 15 or 16, and then we finally got TV, and it was all black and white. Little round picture screen. It was horrible.
So I'm pretty sure my grandmother made me watch this once because she was like an old-timey movie buff, but I don't remember. It was in 39, so was this one of...
Oh, it won all kinds of awards.
Oh, hold on. There's the movie from the olden days, and then wasn't there a TV show or a TV miniseries?
Gone with the Wind? Not that I know of.
I don't know.
It might be they put this on TV and it was a long movie and it took 2 days or something, but I remember it being like a big deal. Like, oh, first time on television, and like before there was cable, like you didn't get movies very often on television, so they made a big deal about it. Anyway, I think we're giving it too much attention. I don't know how it got in here as a gun movie. Freaking
It was like 5.
Well, it had a gun in it. It had some guns in it. It was just the rest of the movie kind of sucked because it was all like, ugh.
I think it's famous, right? It's like classic or whatever. So
it won Oscars. It won Best Movie, all kinds of awards for technical stuff because, like I said, it was color. It was one of the first color movies.
Isn't this horror movie the first time like somebody kissed somebody, or the first time you saw a woman's butt or something?
First time somebody swore because he said "damn."
Oh, yeah. Is this where he says, "Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn"?
Yep.
I think grandmother swooned, had to be taken out of the movie theaters.
Oh.
Well, because people never used to swear in front of ladies, man.
There's 5 guns in this movie.
Yeah.
Remington, model 1858, and then
well, this is just to show that that we're not always going to have a perfect show. Like this will happen once in a while.
Yeah. It was Canon, so, and an unknown revolver. So,
if you'd like to prevent something like this from happening in the future, then let us know some gun movies. DailyGunShow@gmail.com.
Only you can prevent
gun
movies.
I think we've got.
I deliberately watched a gun movie last night, so I've got to add that into the.
He wants to put Dallas on the list because somebody shot JR, probably with a gun.
Oh, wasn't that all a dream sequence? I don't know. There were so many dream sequences.
They wake up and they're back in New York.
Something like that. Wake up in the shower, and yeah, the whole last season didn't happen. Dallas was weird.
Bob knows way too much about Dallas.
My mother was a fanatic for it, so when it was on, there was the only thing. You couldn't watch anything else on TV.
All right, so why don't we move along? That's everything, I think. We didn't talk about
gun history.
Yeah, we missed 30 about it earlier today, though. What?
Gun history and what's on gun channels tonight. Other than that, I think we're all wrapped up.
Oh. So you already talked about it, I guess, earlier, but we missed 2 gun histories yesterday. First one was now I forgot what it is, too, because I forgot it again. So
OK Corral in 1886, 81?
1881, but we had the Protection of Lawful Commerce in Arms and Child Safety Lock Act of 2005. So this provided the gun industry with immunity from the liability. So for a while there, they were attempting to say if a criminal uses a gun in a crime, that's Glock's fault, or that's Smith & Wesson's fault, or that's Ruger's fault. And this is the thing that Hillary is trying to suggest is the gun industry's legal protection from liability or something. So that was in 2005. So I guess it's a win.
I guess.
I'll take it as a win.
Well, it also has the Child Safety Lock Act.
Was that where they got the Hillary hole?
No, that was in the 90s, I think.
I think that one was the one where the trigger lock thing had to come with every gun or something like that.
That might be what it is. And it might be the stupid yellow piece of paper that has to be included with every new pistol. So I'm going to suggest we're not here to educate you. We're here to inform you and maybe inspire you to get off your ass and do something. But having a few people that go out and find everything and bring it to you isn't activism, and it isn't, learning. So get out there and use these things as, like Dana was doing a thing about on Ellis's show on Thursdays. He's doing that little prelude where he talks about the various gun owners' rights groups each week, a different one each week. That's just a little project he can do that help get the word out, help clarify things, help put things in a different light so that people can understand some of these concepts. So we put them out there on Instagram. We talk about them on this show, but this isn't the end all be all. I did this probably a few years ago, so I don't even remember it anymore. Somebody could take this and go do a series of videos on the important federal firearms laws that we've had and the frequency of them. This one's in 2005. I suspect when you put these all in a timeline, you'll see that we had the Second Amendment in like the 1700s. Then we went 176 years until 1934. Then we managed to go another 30-something years until 1968. And then it was 1986. And then it was 2000, or it was 1994. Then it was 2000 and something for the Non-Detectable Firearms Act. It comes up every 10 years. And now when you look at Obama's, the frequency is insane. So, there's lots of potential here. Take some of this and run with it and create some content. Then also we have the OK Corral. So we probably all should have been paying more attention to this, and Angry and Heavy should have come down with you, and we could have gone to freaking Tombstone on Wednesday at 3 p.m. How badass would it have been to have been standing literally there at 3 p.m.?
Yeah, that would have been cool.
We didn't even do it. So
what if you'd seen the ghosts?
That's what I was going to say. That's why I wouldn't be there. I don't want to be caught in the middle of that.
Well, you stand up off to the side so you're not caught in the crossfire. Mind you, they are ghost bullets, so.
Yeah, you know how many shots were fired and how many shots were made? The contrast is like, it's not giving me very good chances.
Yeah, it shows those gunfighters were not the ones we see on TV where every shot hits.
Yeah, no. But, yeah.
think most of the kills were made with a shotgun.
1873, today, 1873, Joseph Gilden applies for a patent on barbed wire. 1873.
That's important. That's, the first line of defense before the shotgun comes out.
Yeah, but it's just interesting that guns were created way before barbed wire. You'd think freaking wire would have been invented before a gun.
Huh? Maybe they didn't think to weaponize wire yet. I don't know.
No, because they never used to use fences, right? Cattle just ran loose. It was only when people were trying to keep sheep off their land that they started to fence in areas because they didn't want sheep coming in and destroying their land.
Oh, please. Come on.
It's true.
I'm not going to stand here and listen to this. You're going to suggest that sheep are going to destroy land. Please.
Yeah, they do. They eat the grass right down to nothing unless you keep them moving. That's why you have to have a sheep herder to keep them moving. Otherwise, they denude the ground and then it all washes away because they eat right down to the roots. Do you know anything about sheep? They're terrible creatures.
Fake sheep news happening here. Bob's got some anti-sheep agenda. He's trying to push a bunch of fake sheep news.
Hey,
Try to divide the sheep into people.
That's why cattle are better than sheep.
Oh, my goodness.
I mean, you get two cowboys together herding sheep, and we've seen what happened back then.
Biased cowboys and don't like sheep. Amazing. So yeah, let's leave. Let's end this before it turns into a cattle war, a ranch war.
All right. Well, what's happening tonight?
We got on Edge of the Week, and then after that, I think CloverTac is doing his after hours chat. I think that's everything for Friday. Heavy B don't come around here no more.
No, he don't care about nothing. He's his money. That's about it. He sold out to the big auto parts stores.
Yeah, he's in Big Pep Boy's pocket.
There you go.
But we do. We could handle some Saturday. Or what am I trying to say? Weekend primetime stuff. It sounds like the other Travis is doing a Sunday show now about food on Sundays. And did I hear somebody's doing something on Saturday, or am I crazy?
I know that Caliber Corner comes on in the morning.
I know Caliber Corner's on in the morning, and that Rick does Rick's Life as I see it, right? But
Yeah.
did I hear that Smeggy and Moon are getting together to do a Saturday evening show now?
What? No, I didn't know that. And and then too, is that Gun News Network coming on every day?
Oh, snap. We almost forgot about the Gun News Network. Is that every day at 6 p.m.? I guess we'll know in a minute when Moon... If he's busy planning something for Saturday night with Smeggy, we'll understand. But,
yeah, very cool. We're getting a few more.
Yeah.
Moon said Smeggy never told him.
Well, Smeggy's not the most reliable.
all right. Well, usually after this show, if it's not already going, there's a lobby over on Gun Channels, and that's just an open room, very similar to this one, but with no topic or nothing. And it looks like the name of their show is on Saturday night is going to be called It's News to Me. And then we'll look forward to that on Saturdays. But anyway, there's usually an open lobby on Friday afternoons, and then Edge does, Clover will do his show prime time, and then Edge does his after.
Oh, is it? I thought it was reversed.
No, I'm pretty sure Edge is second.
Okay.
Smeggy's feeling kind of cheap because he thinks we're trying to set him up on a date with Moon.
Well, I thought they were doing a weekly show on Saturdays together. All right. So anyhow, then it'll be Saturday. So there's some shows happening over the weekend. Stay tuned to those. And well, we got a gun show. Sounds like Jimmy's gonna try to get down here. We're gonna go to a Tucson gun show, buy some stuff for the tour. For the people that are supporting us over on the Patreon, that's kicking in. Really looking forward to that. We got the Wanamaker Gun Show coming up, so this is the time to jump on board for the gun show, gun shop stuff perk, because we're about to head to the biggest gun show on the planet to buy stuff for y'all.
Sweet. Yeah, that's going to be cool. All right, so I think we covered everything. We should just shut this puppy down before we hit 2 hours. So, all right, well, we're going to finish up with our usual quote of the day. And today is, who is? Oh, it's Alexander Hamilton. So this should be a good one. Before that, I'd like to remind everybody, please like, share, subscribe. If you can, support us on Patreon. Link will be in the show description at the bottom of the show. So, on that note, nice short one from Alexander Hamilton. A promise must never be broken. So, that's a good thing to live by. On that, thanks everybody for watching and listening, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
What quote was too quick?
The guys and gals of gunwebsites.com encourage you to take a CCW class every year, practice at least once a month, and carry every day. Thanks for watching gunwebsites.com.